This is a little trip report of a hike up Hallasan National Park. Hallasan is the tallest mountain on the island of Jeju in South Korea and also happens to be the tallest mountain in South Korea at an elevation of, I think it's 6,388 feet. Yeah, so 6,388 feet above sea level. It took us about 5 hours of moving time, 6.5 hours total. We spent a lot of time eating lunch at the first shelter on Kwanam-sa Trail. We started a little bit before 9 a.m. and hit the summit around noon, and then made it down. We're about average hikers, so this is about the average time that it's going to take most people. It's 11.3 miles. We went up Kwanam-sa and came down Sungpanak Trail. Um, so this is the north side. The main reason we took Quantum Sun Trail up is because we were staying in Jeju City, and Quantum Sun Trail is the closest to Jeju City. I didn't want to mess around with the bus system that early in the morning, so I just got a taxi. The taxi was relatively inexpensive. I think it was only $20, or it was less than $20 to get to the trailhead. Now, make sure the trailhead, you go to the trailhead here, not to the temple. Now, I heard the temple's very nice. We didn't have a chance to visit it. But anyways, dropped us off here at this parking lot, and then you can start the trail there. Before you go, you have to make a reservation. I'll link the reservation site in the description below. But you can make it you can change the language to English, but it doesn't really change the s- the selection. So you have to know which trail. This is Kwanum-sa Trail right here. So look at what it looks like. And this is Songpanak Trail. Songpanak Trail. So if you don't know how to read Korean, this is Songpanak, this is Kwanum-sa. And then you put in your date. Now remember the dates in Korean are year, month, date, day. So that's how it goes. A year, month, day, not year, day, month, or the typical way in America is month, day, year, but this is year, month, day, and then how many people you're going to do on the reservation. Reservations cost no money. There's no cost to do the trail. You just have to reserve ahead of time. I would definitely recommend that, especially if you're going on a weekend, because there may be no reservations left if you just show up. So we definitely did the reservation. There is a fee if you want to camp or if you want to park a car there, but otherwise there's no fee. Then you'll get an R number and you show up at the thing and you put in the R number in there, or you'll print out some tickets that you can hand to this person in the kiosk, and then that'll let you in. The trail starts off pretty flat, but then it starts climbing at a steady rate the whole time. And you'll see these plants. I don't know what they are. They look a little bit like some kind of grass, um, all the way up on this side of the trail, which is not on the Songpanak Trail. On the Kwanam-sa Trail, you see these plants everywhere, um, and you follow this little creek as you go up. And there is a little trolley system that they use to rescue people. That you can see the tracks of it on the left-hand side, and eventually we run into that track system. I cut out a little bit of this trail because it looks pretty repetitive like this for a while. And then you come to the first bridge, and this bridge is quite nice. And you'll see, if you look on the right-hand side here, oh no, this is the trolley system is, I forget where it is. It's on the left-hand side, I think, here. And here's the creek that we've been following. There's surprisingly very little water in this creek. And a lot of the trail is constructed like this. You're walking on this treated wood. So the trail is very well maintained. In fact, lots of the trail at the bottom have like this burlap carpet covering it to make it very nice. And it's not really a wilderness experience on the trail. The trail is very well developed. The views, there aren't that many views on this trail so up until this point. You're in a lot of shade and cover. This uh, this staircase is quite steep and climbs up out of this gorge. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is this rail system on just to the right, and they send supplies up to the shelter and the ranger station. Now you have to make it to the ranger station by at about noon. So if you don't make it to the ranger station by about noon, they will turn you back and you will not be able to make it to the summit. So make sure that you start in time to make it to the ranger station by noon. It took us probably a little less than 2 hours to make it to the ranger station. Um, so we started at a little before 9 and we got there a little before around 11, actually a little before 11, and then we had a nice lunch. The views from the ranger station are very nice, um, and there's bathrooms there, although we couldn't really find water to wash your hands after the bathroom there, which I thought was a little odd. Even though it was flushing toilets, there wasn't a sink or anything like that. But after you climb out of this gorge, the trail follows the right side of the gorge. Oh, there's some icicles there. We did this trail in late March. I think it was March 27th, March 28th. And there was still ice on the trails. Even though climbing up, you'll get quite warm. You see that we're in t-shirts. But and upper on the upper parts of the hike there is still a good amount of snow on the trail, although on this side there wasn't enough. You could avoid most of the snow. It wasn't slippery. On the Songpanak trail side there were parts of the trail that were completely covered in snow and ice, and it would have helped to have micro spikes, but we managed it with just sneakers, and it wasn't too bad. So here we are. There's a bathroom that we just passed, and there's I think 2 or 3 bathrooms on this trail. I didn't see any sources of water, although on the websites they say that there's some springs. We did see some spring, and I didn't fully trust drinking water from there. But it was a nice cool day, so we took about a liter, a little less than a liter per person, and that was plenty of water for us. Um, Well, we could have towards the end we were pretty thirsty, so we could have done a little better with a little more water. But it's a heavily trafficked trail. You're not gonna have too many problems. Now we didn't run into too many people on this trail. Maybe we ran into 10 people during this trail, and that's the whole way up to the ranger station. And then when we got to the ranger station, we noticed that there are quite a few people there. So there was a lot more people than we expected. And then when we got to the summit, way more people than we expected on the trail. So they must have started way before us, and then just were hanging out at the summit for quite a long time. So there's a fairly significant drop off to the left on this trail, and then we're getting close to the ranger station, and you'll see the ranger station as we get close to the ranger station. You see some patches of snow, and if you look to the right, you will see the rangers coming up. Yeah, there it is. There's the little trolley, and they're coming up to the ranger station, and there's the ranger station. And we asked them how we can get a ride up the thing, and they said you have to get injured. And if you're in, these are the bathrooms, and there's a little platform up here. You get a great view towards Jeju City up there. And this is where you start really feeling like you're climbing a mountain. The views get much better from the ranger station on up, and there's lots of cool trees and um, birds flying around, and everyone's enjoying their lunch. And that's the direction of the summit. So the summit is up ahead, and that's what you're seeing there. A lot of people brought kimbap, which we couldn't find a place to have kimbap, but a good place to get it is kimbap Changguk, which stands for kimbap heaven, and they have those all over Korea. And we weren't aware of that until later on, but we definitely should have taken some kimbap up there for lunch instead of the snacks that we ended up eating. This part of the trail gets very, very nice. The views are great, and I don't know if the video will do justice to the views that you get from here. There is this suspension bridge that we go across. It's a cool looking footbridge. And the summit is to the right. So what you're looking at there is not the summit. The summit is more towards the right. Yeah, so the summit's there. And again, surprisingly, not too much water here. But I think the rainy season in Korea is in the summer, and we were in early spring, and the trees were fairly devoid of um, any leaves at this point. They were just starting to bud out. But yeah, the video unfortunately does not give a good scale of the view here. It's really good. It's very nice, and you do feel like you're up in the mountains. Up until this point, you're just in a forest, slowly climbing up. And again, you'll notice that trails in most of the well-known trails in Korea are very well developed, um, and they're basically stairs and paved. They're not like dirt or rocks, although there are portions of that. And that's a good thing to note is that you in most cases your descent time will be much faster than your ascent time. But on this trail, our descent was maybe slower than our ascent because we went down the Songpanak Trail, and I think it would be similar if you went down the Kwanumsa Trail too. But going down that trail, there's a lot of lava rock that is kind of watermelon sized, I mean cantaloupe sized, and it's very easy to roll your ankle if you're bombing down that thing. So you have to really pick your footing very carefully to avoid rolling an ankle. And so going down those that lava rock is just slow going because you just have to pick your footing very carefully. Again, the views here are really good. They're very nice. This was an old shelter that burned down at some point, and instead of rebuilding the entire shelter, they just kind of made this platform, and they have a little plaque talking about when the shelter burned down. So you can see it is this trail is constructed most of the way up, and you start seeing more and more of the snow. But as you can see, most of the snow is off the trail, and once you get past the ranger station, you run into a lot more people. There's up until that time, very few people. So I suspect most of these people started way before us, and they're just taking their time. And they all took a long time at the ranger station, and they're slowly picking their way um, up the mountain. And again, you see uh, it is mostly stairs and well maintained. There aren't any planks missing or anything like that. Another short rest area. Great views from here in towards the east. And there's the direction of the summit up ahead. Yeah, the interesting thing is the burlap. I've never seen that, and they put this thick burlap on the trail, which I wondered why they did that, but I realize now that if you put that burlap over the volcanic rock, it makes picking your footing much easier. And so at first I thought that was a totally unnecessary thing to do, but then I see that there are reasons for it. So you see here, there is snow, but it's melted enough that you can kind of pick your way around it and avoid it for the most part. Just be careful with your footing because you can slip there. On the other side, though, I ran out of battery, so I didn't get a recording of the entire descent. But there is much more snow on the Songpanak Trail. And I would say the Songpanak Trail seems to be a little bit less developed with less stairs than this. If you wanted to do it faster, then I think the easier way to do it would be to go up the Songpanak Trail and come down the Guanamsat Trail, because coming down this trail would be easier than going down the Songpanak, and then going up the lava rocks is much easier. It's easier to roll your ankles on a descent than on an ascent. So I think going ascending up the lava rock would be easier than descending the lava rock. Now we get to this area up here, which is a viewing platform, and we thought this was the summit. And if we had not thought about going down the Songpanak Trail, we would have headed back down the trail at this point, because we thought that's the summit and they're not letting us get to the full summit there. And this is the end of it. And we thought that was the descent down the Songpanak Trail. And we were thinking this was the summit of the mountain. As it turns out, this is not the summit of the mountain. It's just a platform for a good view. And it is a great view from here. And everyone takes pictures. And I bet there's some people that think that this is the summit, but again, it is not. You have to continue for another couple hundred yards, and then you reach the true summit. And so I'm glad we decided to go down the other trail, because it forced us to continue going on what looks like a descent. Um, but yeah, don't be fooled. This is not the summit. The summit um, is uh, is very clear from another place. We're looking down towards Jeju City, and there is the black building right there is the Grand Hyatt Jeju, which is the hotel we stayed at. It's a very nice hotel. Um, it's fairly pricey, but if you want to splurge, I would say that that is a good hotel to stay at. Okay, so then we continue on, and you go a couple hundred more yards, and then you will reach the true summit. And here we are cresting to the true summit. And the true summit, you can look down the crater, and there's a little crater lake. And this is where we realized that there are far more people on this mountain than we had thought. Because we did run into more people past the first ranger station, but then when you get up to the summit, you realize there are hundreds of people up here. And this is why you need to do the reservation, because it's very popular. And we did this on a weekday. This was on a Monday. So we did this on a Monday, and there were still this number of people. There is the little lake at the crater. So that's Hallasan is a cinder cone it's a volcanic shield uh, mountain. And so I think it last erupted in BC sometime. So it's basically a dormant volcano. Although I guess most volcanoes aren't truly dormant. That is the summit sign right there, and there's this huge line to take a picture with the summit sign. So we opted not to do that because we had some plans in the afternoon that we wanted to get to. So we didn't take pictures with the actual summit sign, but there was a line, and I'm sure it's like a 30-minute long line to get to, and that's what a lot of people are doing. And you can see the line to the right of the screen there. But yeah, you see the number of people up there, up here. It's at least, I would say, at least 200 people up the summit. Here's the people taking pictures with the summit sign. Okay, so now that we reached the full summit, we're going to head down the Songpanak Trail, which is more exposed at the top. I think the views are not as good. The views are much better up the Guanamsat Trail, at least after the ranger station. Um, but you do get a more expansive view of the western side of the mountain. So if you like that kind of view, um, the Songpanak Trail is better. If you like more looking up at the mountain as you're going, then the Quantum Trail is definitely better for that. think a lot of people have planned it so that they have lunch at the summit. There were some people cooking ramen up there. They brought a stove up, did all kinds of stuff. This is the ranger station on the Sungpanak Trail. It looks like a very nice ranger station as well. Um, Again, you have to reach these ranger stations by about noon. I think in the summer they let you get up there to at 1. This is a one of the other bathrooms on the trail. This is where there was a spring, and it looked clean, but I don't know that I would completely trust it. Again, you don't see the same kind of plant life on this trail. There's a different kind of plant that was very prevalent here, and I saw a sign for it, so I took a picture of the sign of this whatever shrub this is. That's the sign. That's the trail. And here we are at the exit, and we're exiting the Sangpanak Trail. And again, it took us about 6 hours, 20 minutes. It's 4,300 feet roughly of elevation gain. And from here, we took a bus back to Jeju City, and it was pretty easy. There's a bus station right across the street there, and lots of people were using the bus system to get back, and that was no problem.